and welcome back to Bear's Reading Nook. I'm Kara, and today we're going to be doing episode 2 of the Do I Like Blank. And this episode, we are focusing on vampires. And growing up, I never really read a lot of books that had vampires in them. I recently, within the past few years, kind of watched a few shows that had vampires in them. But as far as reading goes, this is a new thing that I wanted to try. So for this specific episode of Do I Like, we are focusing on Vampire Academy, which follows the main character of Rose, who is considered, I think it's a Dompere or something like that, who is a guardian of a Moroi, which is a vampire, and kind of various things that happen during their year at school. And it's one of the movies that I watched recently was actually Vampire Academy, so I wanted to see how the book differed from the movie. The second one is Vampire Knight, and basically this follows, I think it's Cross Academy, which has a day class and a night class, and the two guardians who kind of help keep the peace as the day class exits the classroom building and the night class goes in. And they are also keeping a secret that the night class is made up of vampires. Sounds interesting. I'm excited to see how it goes. The final book that I'm planning to read for this episode is A Dowry of Blood, which is a sort of Dracula retelling of sorts from the perspective of one of his brides. It is written in a lyrical style, and I have this one on audiobook. And I believe I tried this one for the Try a Chapter challenge that I did. And I was basically hooked after one little paragraph. So I'm excited to see how I like it. And I will check back in with you when I've read some things. Okay, so let's talk Vampire Academy. So overall, it was okay. I think I told you guys a basic idea of what the book is about in the intro. But it was an okay book. I am kind of wondering where the series will go, so I do plan on continuing at least for now, but I don't know where it's going to go other than one thing that was hinted at multiple times of a test of sorts. But I really enjoyed the character of Rose, and the kind of relationship bond that she has with her Moroi that she's guarding, Lissa. And I also, not gonna lie, really like the character of Dimitri, and kind of the role that he plays in the story. For me, having watched the movie, but also just how it was written, I feel various parts of the story were predictable, and that wasn't necessarily the funnest thing to read, but I still really enjoyed the overall story, and I liked how the movie and the book differed in certain parts, because I was still surprised by how things unfolded, even if I knew kind of what was going to happen. It was nice to see a change in how that happened. I do plan on continuing on with the series. I liked how Vampire Academy kind of took a different approach to vampires from like some others, where it's like, we can't be out in the sun, we only go out at night. Whereas with Vampire Academy, it's like the Moroi, who are the actual like full vampires, they can go out in the day. It's just an irritation on their skin versus like, you know, burning alive. And so they do have classes at night, which makes sense. The way that they handle different things, vampire-wise, it seems like they have thought things through as far as how, like, a school setting would work. And overall, I enjoyed this take on vampires. Okay, so next we have Vampire Knight, and this one is intriguing to me. So this one had something that was very predictable to me, as well as some repetition. And I get that like manga normally will come out like chapter by chapter, but when it's in like a bind up like this, where this has I think like 4 or 5 chapters in it, maybe take out the repetitiveness a little bit. And basically what the repetitiveness is, I think it's just in the first 2 or 3 chapters, and it kind of explains twice at the beginning of, I believe, the first and second chapter, like that Cross Academy is a school, that these 2 people are guardians, and that night class has vampires. And it's like, you already told me that in the first chapter. I don't need it twice. But aside from that and the predictable thing, I actually didn't mind this, and I am intrigued to see where the story goes. I'm not the biggest fan of the art style, but it is an older manga, so it kind of makes sense that it would be an older style. So as far as the way that vampires are written in Vampire Knight, there are very bad vampires who will bite, kill, whatever, like humans, and then there are the ones at Cross Academy who the headmaster believes are in fact good and is trying to like basically show that vampires can coexist with humans without it being an issue. I think both Vampire Knight and Vampire Academy are going to be 3.5 stars. Basically, I wasn't a fan of the predictability in either of them, and I still enjoyed the overall story, but I kind of was hoping for a little bit more. So, as far as Diary of Blood goes, I'm about halfway through the audiobook, and I am really enjoying it so far. This one is definitely a more horror type of take on vampires. It's definitely more brutal in a way, but I'm really excited to see this other side of vampires that the others have not really shown. I finished Diary of Blood and I really enjoyed it. It has a different take on vampires than the previous 2 books that I've read for this video. It kind of takes on a more darker kind of tone and view of vampires, but with the knowledge that it is Dracula, it does make sense. And I really like that the author wrote from the perspective of a bride of Dracula, and I liked seeing the relationship from her eyes, and kind of like seeing how it evolves and changes over the years, from when she was kind of like sired as a vampire until like, you know, later down the line. And I enjoyed how the story unfolds. So in the beginning of the book, we're given a little bit of information as far as something that like may happen at some point in the book, and then the story goes from that, which would be the present, and then it goes kind of in the past and goes through the relationship that the main character has with Dracula. And I thought that was a really good idea and really well done. It has an abusive relationship, which is somewhat problematic, but the way in which that it is done, honestly, I thought it was well done and honestly believable as well, just based on like how the character and the relationship had been set up and stuff like that. But beware of that. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one. This is a 5-star book for me, and I am so excited. So, according to, the books that I read in this video, I at least have a little bit of interest in vampire books. And honestly, I'm excited to see what other vampire books are out there. So, they may show up in another Do I Like Vampires or another, like, themed vlog or something in the future. But that's all for this video, so I will see you in the next one. Bye!